Hey, it's Frank here with 4D Honeybee, and I'm out to inspect the split that I made about 5 days ago. So I made a split. Wasn't really planning on doing it, but one hive showed a lot of sign of swarming. So there were at least 5 or 6 swarm cells just on one frame. So I took that frame, put it in another box, took some more bees, resources, put it in that box, went to my other hive, found another swarm cell, a supersedure cell, put that one in the box, put a few bees in there, and now I'm hoping to see that how it's progressing. So one of maybe 3 main scenarios could happen. There was one capped queen cell that I put in there, and that could have already hatched. Basically between capping off a queen cell and hatching is about 7 days. So that could be out there already. So that's one scenario. The queen has already hatched. Maybe she's gone around and destroyed all the other swarm cells, and maybe she's trying to get mated in the next couple of days or so. Scenario number 1. Scenario number 2, and probably the more likely one, is maybe one queen is hatched, maybe a couple of cells have capped now. Scenario number 3, maybe none of the queen cells that I put in there were any good, and maybe they're making their own queen with the eggs that I put in there. So could be any of those 3 scenarios, or could be any scenario, because that's how bees are. That's how beekeeping is. You can predict all you want, but Mother Nature has a strange way of doing her own thing. So I'm just going to have a look in there and make sure that everything's okay. I also had put a mouse guard on the front of that hive for 2 reasons. 1, because there are mice. 2, because the box is a lot bigger than what I'd normally use for a split. This is the size box that I would normally use for a split. And you can use them small. This is a 5 frame box, right? I didn't have this around when I did that split. So I put them into a 10 frame box. It's a lot bigger than what they need, and they can't really defend it that well because there's just not that many bees in there. So I left the mouse guard on, but when that queen emerges, although she'll be smaller than she is eventually when she gets impregnated and full of eggs, she might have problems getting in and out of that mouse guard for her mating flights. There is a secondary exit on the top of that hive, but again, we want to make it easier for her to come and go, and hopefully the bees are good and healthy enough that now the mouse guard is not a factor. So they might have hatched a lot of new bees too because we had brood in that hive. So anyway, that's it for the long intro. Hopefully we'll see a nice burgeoning brand new hive, and thanks for joining me at 4D Honeybee. So we're having a look at the entrance here, and there is no activity whatsoever in the entrance, and that's not all that surprising, because very few foragers made it over to this split, and the foragers that were there probably made their way back to their regular hives. So I'm going to remove... Oh, hello. Look at that thing. Jeepers. What in the world is that? Well, let's see if we can have a closer look. That is a ugly yet beautiful creature that I can't say I've ever seen before. What is that? Off it goes. Alright, so let's remove that that mouse guard first and foremost, and then we'll crack the hive open and see what's going on inside. Okay, so in the best laid plans department, I've got my first fail of the day already. I have my second one, my smokers quit on me here. I couldn't remove the mouse guard because first off, I had the wrong screwdriver for it, but then I jimmied it, and my drill died. My battery died. So now my smoker is just barely coming back to life. Come on, smoker, you can do it. Anyway, so the mouse guard will stay on. It'll have to stay on for at least another day because I'll have to go back. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to buy one of those cheap multi-bit screwdrivers and stick them in your box. I did make another video on some other stuff that I keep in my box, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to have a screwdriver in there. Rarely use it, but when I need it, I need it. Alright, smoker's working again. Now let's see what we've got in here. Hopefully we still have bees. Okay, I see some bees. That's a good sign. Question's going to be how many and what are they doing? Well, the answer so far is not that many. All right, so you can see that these are the 3 main frames that I put in, 4 main frames, I guess, with brood on them. First few frames over here are just going to be honey frames. I will have a quick look on them, but I don't expect them to have much activity at all. Wow, and you know what? There's no activity on these because they've been mostly robbed. Look at that. These frames have been robbed in a big way. Wow, okay, well, that's not a good start. Let's see what the next frame is telling me. Oh yeah, empty. Empty, empty. Well, that's not good at all. This is a heavier frame now. Okay, there is some nectar, some pollen in here. And here on this side, we've just again got some nectar and some honey. Okay, now this becomes an important frame here. This is a brood frame. And this is the one with all those queen cells on it. You see them? And now 1, 2, 3 of them are capped. Look at that. 3 are capped, and the one over on this side, on the left side, is also capped. So it's actually 4 capped queen cells now. So it means they are working on a queen. My concern is that there's just not a lot of bees on this frame here. Not enough bees to keep tending to the brood. So that brood may die off. And maybe what would be wise to do, I'm trying to look at one particular bee here, it keeps eluding me. Could that be, that's a queen right there. Look at that, right at the bottom of the frame. See how she keeps going to the opposite side from where I am? That looks like it may just be a young queen. And the reason why I zeroed in on her, now I've lost her. The reason why I zeroed in on her is she was definitely trying to avoid me. Wherever I went, she didn't go. Yeah, she may have made her way back down into the hive there. Oh, there she is, right there at the bottom. So this is what I'm saying is a queen, right there at the bottom, middle. Definitely a queen. Look at her here, guys. Right at the bottom of the frame here, making her way to the other side of the frame now. See how she keeps making her way to the side that I'm not looking. And again, maybe I shouldn't, I've got her over the box, so I'm not too worried about her flying away. But she's definitely a queen. Hopefully the GoPro is picking her up. Well, do you see her there? Just look at how every bee is tending to her. You definitely know that that's a queen. So here it is, guys. I'm going to bring it up to this camera here. You see her right at the bottom there? Now it's the top of the frame. See the cluster right over there? Go 6 inches off my thumb, you'll see her. So, there's a queen in this box. I'm going to put her back in. Now they haven't destroyed the other queen cells. There's still a ton of larvae in here. Let me just see if they've made any more queen cells from the eggs that were in here. No, they've capped this off. See how, look, that's probably where she emerged from. Look at that. There's the emerged queen cell right there. You see it? I'm shaking so much. I'll show it to you in the GoPro here. There's the emerged queen cell. Right there, you see it? Didn't emerge long ago because they're still kind of tending to it. You see that? So that's where our queen came from. You see, we got 2 more queen cells down here too. Look at that. 2 more queen cells. So I'm going to let these bees do what they're going to do and maybe check just one more frame here. But now that the queen is here, it makes it even more urgent that I find a screwdriver and get rid of that mouse guard. Putting pollen in here. And there's another queen cell that they're working on. See that? Let's see if we can see any, see a larva in there or anything. Can you see that? Yeah, definitely a larva in there. So I'm going to let these guys go. Now I'm a little concerned about resources because it looks like they have done something with all that honey I gave them. So all this honey is gone, and I don't think it's being robbed because there's just absolutely no activity at the front of that hive. So maybe what's happened is that they've moved it around. That would be sort of the most positive possible solution. I'm just going to check these 2 frames here because they're honey as well. And they feel very light. No, there's a good amount of honey here. Just going to turn this one around. There's more honey on one side than the other, so I'm putting that side in. And this one is empty. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove that mouse guard down there, just to make sure the queen is able to escape on her mating flight. She may or may not be mated. She looked kind of small still, but if she's just emerged in the last 5 days, it takes a while for her to get mated, and it takes a while for her to start laying eggs. So I'm just going to leave them alone and get that mouse guard off. And so far, successful emergency split. Again, was that one of the scenarios I was expecting? Yeah, kind of. I think the first thing I said was that one of those queen cells could have emerged, and it did. So there's a queen in there. Now that might not mean that they're happy. Like, for all I know, that queen could have emerged today, right? And so she still needs to get mated. She needs to lay. This hive may still want to keep their options open with all those other queen cells, because there's at least, what, were they 6 or 5, 6, 7 more capped or just about capped queen cells. So what I got to do is just let this hive be, so to speak, remove that mouse guard so they can get out easily, and let it go. So far so good on the split. It was kind of an urgent / emergency split that I did because I saw one hive swarming, and still not many bees in here. I'd like to see more bees in there, but there's brood that's set to hatch. My concern is that there may not be enough bees to tend to that brood or to keep it at the right temperature, but we'll see that in the next few days. If I need to, or if I feel I need to, I can always put more bees into that hive, okay? So thanks for joining me, and we'll see how it keeps going at 4D Honeybee.